family is a huge deal to me. My two sisters, my mom, my dad, my dogs, even though I don't like one of them, but but I have to leave them. My sister and Vinny are getting married in a few months. And I'm not going to be able to be here for some of the planning. I'm not going to be able to be here for her shower, things like that. I have to leave my best friends, which is so hard for me. And you know, I'm not going to be able to just go out and buy whatever I want. I'm going to be on a very, very strict budget. And it's going to be difficult. It's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy for me. But I know that the things that God is going to use me to do far outweigh the sacrifices that I'm going to have to make. And we have to realize that in order for us to live the life that God has called us to live, we're all going to have to make sacrifices. And your sacrifices may not look like my sacrifices. You know, you may have to sacrifice going certain places with your friends because you know that you shouldn't be there. Or listening to certain music, or watching certain movies because you know that it's not pleasing to God. You may have to sacrifice some friends that you know are not good influences on your life. And we all may have to sacrifice certain things that we definitely don't want to. And that's what the whole point of sacrificing is it's things that we don't want to give up, that we know that we have to give up. And I just want you guys, are we ready to show the video? Just watch this video real quick and I'll talk to you about it after.
Our desire when it came to missions has always been to be somewhere where there wasn't somebody already there doing something. To go into a no man's land spiritually, a no man's land politically. Our desire when it came to missions has always been to be somewhere where there wasn't somebody already there doing something. To go into a no man's land spiritually, a no man's land politically. But we didn't know of anybody that was working in Iran and Iraq and Syria and Turkey, area riddled with terrorism, and people that were lonely and hurting and longing for God. We had an opportunity to build a bridge and to love on them. And it just fulfilled every sense I'd ever had as a kid. God has showed up in miraculous ways, and yet it did nothing that we could see to move Turks towards Christ. Nobody came to us and said, tell us more about this Jesus, as if it never happened. God very gently asked us, are you really ready to make a sacrifice to reach Muslims? And falling down flat on my face and saying, God, whatever you want. When this popped up, we realized immediately what the sacrifice was. And we were cool with it. My Muslim brothers are weeping over my sickness. My heart is that our churches would weep over their lostness. These are people that deserve to be reached. These are people that deserve our agony and our effort because they are truly loved of God. To die with a godly courage and with godly peace in front of these people and show them that there is another way of living. There's another way of dying.
So, if you didn't gather what was going on in that video, that's Stan, and Stan is an AG missionary. And if you watch the whole video, he basically, and he wrote a book also, he basically says that he was living in California. Him and his wife had jobs, and bad things just started happening to him. And he said, "Okay, God, you got my attention. What is it that you want me to do?" And God said to him, "I want you to give everything up and go to Istanbul." And so they left, and they went to go live in Turkey. And he says he wanted to go to the places that no one else was. He wanted to be places where people had never heard about Jesus. And he was there for a long time. And in that whole time that he was a missionary, not one person came to know Jesus. And he finds out that he has terminal cancer, liver and colon cancer, and that he's dying basically. And everybody in the United States said, "Okay, it's time for you to come home. It's time for you to get treatment here. You know, we could prolong your life at least a little bit if you get the cancer treatment here in the United States. It's time for you to come home." And he has a wife and 2 children. And he said, "God, you know, tell me what it is that you want me to sacrifice to reach Muslims." And basically what God told him was, "I need you to sacrifice your life." And he deferred coming home and getting the treatment for his cancer in the United States. And he stayed in Turkey because his heart was to die out loud. He wanted to show the Muslims that you can be sick and be dying and still have a peace about it because of Jesus Christ. And so he stayed in Turkey, didn't get the treatment, and in August, Stan went to be with the Lord. And if there's any sacrifice that's worth talking about, it's Stan's sacrifice. The things that I just talked about are nothing compared to what Stan gave up. He gave up living a longer life with his wife and his children because his mission was to show Muslims that there is hope in death. And so God may not be asking you to give up your life the same way that Stan did. And God may not be asking you to give up your life the same way that I'm doing. But God asks all of us to sacrifice things in our life to live the life that He has called us to live. And so, if the worship team, I don't know if you're planning anything, but if you could just come and play something. If you guys could just close your eyes and think of the sacrifice that Stan made. And then think about the things that are going on in your own life. Maybe the problems that you face, maybe whatever it is, the things that are going on in your life. And think about if you would be willing to sacrifice everything for your relationship with God. I sat here in this room for many years in the same place that you are. And there was many times that I said, okay, God, I'll sacrifice it all. I'll give you every part of my life. And then the next day,